It's going like that. That's all I can see.
Notification. Boom.
Right, I'm going to. Yay! There we go.
Yes, I've got it.
Brilliant. Here we are, our first live for Dreamcatch, in Dreamcatch's page and channel. Here I am with Anna Martin and Elle Linton. So I'm going to very quickly introduce Anna and Elle and obviously let you guys introduce yourselves, which is going to be probably a much better job as well. Anna Martin is a fitness owner at Anna Martin Fitness and AMF World. And we have Elle Linton, who is a fitness professional, influencer and blogger who blogs at Keep It Simple. And today we're going to be talking all things fitness and all things fitness business to really help you out with that first half or first quarter of the new year. We know it's been a really, really difficult year for absolutely everyone, or difficult 2 years really, with a ton of restrictions, uncertainty, unprecedented things happening, licenses, music licenses, and so on. So we thought that we would all get together, have a bit of a chat in terms of the areas where we feel that fitness professionals could really do with some support, but most importantly, so hear the tips and tricks that Anna and Elle have and can share with us. So with no more delays, Anna, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure. So I'm Anna. I run a face-to-face fitness business and online part of that as well, PT, and then I run an education portal and choreography portal for Group X instructors, specifically to help with resistance training. So I feel like that makes me sound like a bit of a fitness Del boy, if I'm honest.
Oh, very good, very good.
With it.
It's lovely to have you. And Elle, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yes, so I'm Elle. I think a nicer way of being a fitness Del boy is calling yourself a creative entrepreneur. So I am a fitness instructor and personal trainer. I've always done it like as an aside. I have my blog as well, which is for more my target audience, but I then have a section on my blog called The Business of Fitness, where I do talk about aspects of being a fitness professional. And then last but not leastly, I look after the Zoom and online fitness instructors group, where we all came together at the start of lockdown to figure out how we could do all of this crazy online stuff together rather than trying to be on our own and failing.
Yeah, very good. And sorry, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Anna. I'm also a fitness instructor and personal trainer, which I do on the side, which Elle obviously graduated from. So I run Strategy NA, which is some sort of like a small group fitness boot camp over the weekends. And I work for Dreamcatch as a partnerships manager as well. Brilliant. Cool, guys. So if we go straight into the theme, into the topic. So we were talking a little bit a few weeks ago about planning, coming now the new year, December being a bit of a quieter month for most. I know a lot of instructors and personal trainers sort of like stopping around this time, business and closing the doors and really looking at, what the next few months may look like. What are your tips and tricks around planning, and how can we support fitness professionals plan better and look ahead a little bit more, as opposed to being so reactive to what's happening around them?
Do you want to go first, Anna?
Oh, you go first.
Mine's more scene setting, because I was going to say it's come up a number of times in the Facebook group where people have started to get worried because numbers have started dropping. And I think there was a post recently earlier this month where someone was like, class numbers are dropping, what should I do? And planning a timetable and a whole schedule of classes for people is not something that we've ever had to do. Like, we've always personally, I've always just worked at a studio and they've done the planning and they tell me that I'm needed or I'm not, and it's their job to worry about numbers. So I think that just getting to know the ebbs and flows, and also realizing that these ebbs and flows do not directly correlate with what we have seen in the past. Because I know that back in pre-pandemic, in the summer, Numbers would always go down a little, except for the committed. But then in September, classes would be rammed again. And that didn't happen. That didn't happen this year. Like it wasn't as like, there wasn't as big a contrast. So I think it's just going with the ebbs and flows and understanding what your clients are going to be doing, and understanding how they're being impacted by what's going on, and trying as best as you can to plan for that. But I think one of the best things about being online is that we can be so flexible. Like we haven't booked a studio, we haven't booked a community hall, and cancelling last minute isn't going to cost us anything. So, you know, if you put something on and people don't book on, well, it's a shame because you don't get to deliver what you do best, but you can cancel it and put your feet up and enjoy your evening, morning, or lunchtime, and have a think about why that was. So I think planning for a best case scenario, but then not being afraid to chop and change and make things flexible, and also talking to your clients, being like, hey guys, no one came to class on Tuesday morning, so I presume no one wants it. And then they'll say, oh, do you know what, I just had hairdressers this week, or I'm doing something for the next 2 weeks, but I'll be back. And then they're planning on coming, but just life is getting in the way.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, even with face-to-face stuff, it's kind of similar, because we're obviously not seeing quite the same peaks and troughs that we would normally expect at different times. And even in December, like, I've had a really quiet week, and this week is not really quiet. So it's really unpredictable, I think, at the moment with numbers. And the flexibility of running a timetable, even in person, so face-to-face classes, I don't have anything that I have to keep on the timetable. Whereas before I would have had in my head, whatever happens, I'm keeping this class. But I'm not. I just sort of see what happens, and then if it doesn't pan out for a bit, it doesn't mean that class is going forever. It just means that maybe they don't really want to do it right now, and then I can bring it back again, like later on in the year. So I think being flexible is key. And especially for face-to-face stuff, not relying solely on online marketing to bring people in, because a lot of people are avoiding social media at the moment. As soon as the news gets a bit negative, people don't go on their phone as much because they don't want to see the notifications. So we've got to think of other ways of being able to get people in for that January vibe.
Yeah, and what's your best advice on that, Anna? Because I know a lot of people and you mentioned social media, which is a very valid point. A lot of people are feeling, or what I'm hearing in community networks and groups, is that I'm posting a lot of content. I'm ticking all the boxes in the sense of what I'm meant to be doing for social media for my business. However, my followers are not increasing, and I'm not getting leads through. Do we see social media as a channel to bring in new clients, or just as a showcase? How do you guys view social media in that sense?
I think both things, but I think we have to understand how people feel at the moment. And I think for a lot of people, if they are using social media, they're using it as like a release and something they want to see, fun things, and they're trying to relax. So I think we're probably seeing people skim past our business posts a little bit more than we might have in previous times. But I think social media still has a massive place in terms of marketing, showing people what we've got and all that kind of thing. I just don't think we should rely completely on that if we're hoping people come face to face. Like if you're online, obviously that is the main way people are coming to see what you have. But if you're trying to get people into a community hall, I do think that we have to think off social media a tiny bit to make sure that we're covering all our bases.
Yeah.
I think personally with social media, there's two things. The first is that not everybody sees what you post. So a lot of people think I'll post once about what I'm doing and that's it, everyone will come. But you might have 1,000 followers, you do that one post and 20 people see it. So not everybody's seen it. And I learned that the hard way, as in it was a lot of work in the summer when I did a raffle, and I've was posting so many times about it, and that's what made it successful. But you feel like you're flooding people's feed, but actually you're not, because 12 people are seeing it here and 20 people are seeing it there and 10 there. And then my second point about social media and online is that I found a lot of people that come to my classes aren't actually on social media. So I've asked them like how they found me, and it's usually been through like community. So I'm really into running and I'm really into cycling, so I always share what I do with those communities, like WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, and then people tell their friends. So we can't like underestimate the power of word of mouth, even though we're in a very like digital era. Even though classes are digital and everyone's talking about social media, word of mouth is still really, really powerful.
Yeah, and I truly believe on that too, you know. I think like yourselves, like most of my clients really have come from a referral basis, you know, where someone has referred the other person and the other person has referred. And I think that as well as looking forward, it's how do you build those incentives, you know, for your actual current clients to help them drive you, bring more clients. So you guys work with any sort of incentives or rewards in that sense? Do you see them worth it as well? You might not see them worth it, but what's your view on them?
I think it depends how your business model works and how you'd be able to track that. I think for the most part, my guys are happy to talk about me as long as I feel like if I'm doing a good job, they're going to be happy to talk about it anyway. Sometimes if there's like a particular time of year or an event, I might do something where, you know, like just something easy, like bringing a friend for free or whatever, or like a thing where you bring your partner or whatever it might be for a particular event. But I think in general, if someone's having a good time, they're quite happy to share the fact that they're enjoying it with you anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, right? You want it to be so good that they want to talk about you at their dinner party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what? People talk about good things less than they do about bad things. If they go and have a bad time at your class, there's no doubt that they're going to go and tell absolutely everybody. But they don't really remember to do that as much when they have a good time. And I feel like that whole word of mouth like is something that I do really want to focus on moving forward, because it's going to help. And I think that it is something that can be done manually, but that's just adding another job for me to do. So I feel like this is for Gym Catch. Gym Catch needs to add that to their to-do list to have some sort of system where it can be, our clients can opt in and then share access to a class, for example, be rewarded. Like people love rewards, right? If they get a free class because they referred someone, they're gonna be incentivized to do that. So that's definitely something that I want to add in, but not have it create more work for me.
Of course, and that's been duly noted in my notepad. And I, you know what, having had a conversation with Ollie in the past, and I've only been at Gym Catch for 6 months, I know that's in the works, so I know that will be coming up. Until then, there's a feature called discount codes on Gym Catch, and that's something that some fitness professionals, some instructors and PTs will use to sort of incentivize their current customers, giving them a hefty discount or a free pass that they can give them to someone else. But yeah, that's duly noted. Thank you very much. So now on hybrid, it seems to be sort of like the buzzword these days. Everyone talks about hybrid. You see hybrid everywhere. But how can we make hybrid work? Because I know the first leg of COVID, when COVID first hit, everyone was, not many people were ready really. And I think the ones that were ready are now sort of like, perhaps in a different league, in the sense that they're gearing more the business towards that more online delivery model as opposed to that face-to-face and online. But how do you see that hybrid model work, and how important is it, you think, currently, and especially for next year, as we are entering next year, and this month we can utilize it as planning? What are some of the things that you think instructors and some personal trainers could be doing?
I think it's just sort of being flexible with how you view hybrid as well. So obviously you could teach your class and stream it at the same time, which is probably what we would think of like most when you think of that word, but there's different ways to do online at the same time so that it sits in with your face-to-face classes or whatever your business model is. So I did do stream my live classes when I first went back, and I have to be honest, I found it quite stressful to try to do both at the same time in terms of the tech setup. So to set up and test all my speakers so they were loud, and then make sure that everyone online was okay at the same time. There's a lot of people to make happy. So I ended up making my online thing as a pre-recorded thing with downloadable workouts that fit alongside my resistance training program in class. So then basically everyone online and in my class is doing the same workouts, but all of everything clipped in around that. So they have the same phases and the same stuff, but they also have programming and nutritional support as part of that. So people from my classes do that as well. But it just means that I didn't have to stream at the same time, which was the thing that made me feel a bit like what's going on kind of thing. So there's different ways of doing it, isn't there? You can have like on demand, you could stream it, whatever works.
Yeah, I think most people are trying to make the in-person, face-to-face and online work at the same time. And personally, I haven't done that because I never had my own face-to-face classes. But I have been going out to a studio to deliver like my PT and my classes sometimes from there, which are online. And I found that with the tech side of things, the one thing that's been putting me off is undoing everything at home because it's set up so perfectly. So I actually now have everything times 2, and I have like a carry case with my whole setup again. So I'm going to set it up once, all the dials are going to stay in the same place, and I'm going to know like how to do it, because once everything's set up, you're fine. It's just undoing it and back up again is the really tough bit. So I know that not everybody's in a financial position to do that, but we just I took advantage of Black Friday recently.
Good on you, Elle. And you know what? I can resonate so much with what you're saying. I got exactly the same thing on my carry case, and it's exactly the same thing. And it was for those reasons. I just felt like I was wasting more time setting up, building everything up, and then doing the live stream to then the actual running and everything. So now I just got the carry case, and it's so much easier. It's really saved time. But as you say, it's so costly as well. But yeah. So what sort of percentage do you allocate, like a percentage? So you say, you know what, 80% of my services are going to be online and 30% are going to be face-to-face. What sort of allocation do you give it? And what do you think, and how do you think that allocation might change for next year?
So I just went back with my same in-person timetable that I had before, but I just dropped a night because I wanted a night off. So I went back with the same kind of thing that I had before, but I added in my product flex that would clip in alongside it, and that's separate. So I've just kind of gone back, I guess, 100% with what I had in terms of the face-to-face, but I've added on flex so that it doesn't waste all of the hard work I did recording workouts over lockdown and getting all that stuff ready anyway. I did, like, you don't want to waste 200 videos, either do 250 videos, whatever it is. So that's all sort of then set up, and it doesn't actually take that much work. So I reckon out of the month it probably takes me maybe 2.5 days to film everything, edit everything, create the programs and do it. So I think that's probably panned out quite well in terms of relieving my stress a bit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then it doesn't change. Like if anything changes for us in terms of how we're living, that's not going to change. Like I might end up streaming a few classes as well, but the flex is just a thing on its own, regardless of whether.
And that takes actually quite nicely to our next point, which is how do we package and price services, right? So you're talking about the flex, which I'm assuming that's a different package to your normal membership. What's the best way to go about packaging and selling your services and presenting them in a way that is going to be attractive as well for the customer?
Elle, do you want to?
Oh no, it's that feeling. I was still wanting to ask Anna a question about her.
Go on.
Her flex, because you said that you just record that all in 2.5 days. So I was going to ask how you is that all in bulk and how you find the energy to do that?
It's just what I'm doing is recording 2 resistance training workouts that work like a gym program, but that can be done at home or at the gym, and then supplementary workouts to go in. But because I've got 250 odd workouts from the copious amount of time that we weren't allowed to go anywhere, I'm using a mixture of those mixed up with new stuff, because anyone who joins new has never done any of that stuff already, and my guys who are coming to my classes don't need it all quite so much because they're already busy coming to see me 3 or 4 times a week. So it's sort of at the moment kept the workload a lot lower than I think I would have had if I'd had to try to set it up from scratch. So I've just used everything that I did before. And in terms of pricing, I run a membership model with my classes, so they can drop in, but because they pay the same amount that they paid before, and I've dropped tonight, then they get flex as part of the top tier membership. But then if they're just dropping in, then they can buy flex separately as well. So it just sort of depends. And that was how it worked better for me, because then it kind of makes everyone happy and me happy.
For me, in terms of pricing, I would say that right now my classes and everything I offer is pandemic pricing. And I think it was based on the fact that it was a bit of a panic at the start. And I didn't really understand the value of what I would be offering because I hadn't offered it before. So my pricing was like trying to find that middle ground between not being too cheap but not being expensive, because you know everyone's in a pandemic, and I think moving forward into 2022, pricing is 100% the first thing that I'm going to be changing. So I have personal training, which I do online, and I have pricing for that by itself. And then for my classes, you can either get a 30-day pass or you can do drop-ins, and both of those I'll be changing the price for. And then I do also have on top of that an on-demand membership, but as Anna said, I'm thinking of bringing it all into one just to make it less complicated and have that as an offering, because like I feel like my clients haven't yet fully jumped on board the on-demand thing. But this month, so December and November, I actually only did live classes the first week of each month, and the next 3 weeks of November and the last 3 weeks of December I just did on demand. So I had the same timetable live, but I put a video link, and they've done it, but none of them have ever joined the on-demand membership. So I'm thinking it's probably better for me, better for everyone to have more choice if I just bring them all together rather than try and keep them separate. So yeah.
That's a good point. And you said prices might be going up. I see a lot of people now thinking about considering, raising their prices, which I think is great. It's like, yay, finally, we get our pay rise somehow, or we get to, to see a bit more the rewards of the efforts that we put in. When you think about raising your prices, what do you think are the elements that you have to consider, or that fitness instructors should consider really?
So I feel like we can't underestimate our value, and we do. And I think that's come from the fact that over the last however many decades, fitness instructors have never been paid well. And it's ironic that we would complain that we don't get paid well by studios, but then when we get the freedom to choose our own prices, we really undervalue ourselves. Like, I think that's one of the major things to remember. Like, if you didn't feel valued earning, I don't even know how much it was, like £15 for a half an hour class, like why would you then make it even less when you add it up by yourself? So I think when I've been thinking about pricing, you do need to focus on the fact that you need to make a living. Like, you're not a charity, so there's that. But then you also want to offer value, and I think maybe rather than when you increase your price, you can just think about like things that you can also add value, rather than worry about like the fact that they're paying more. So for example, when I increase my prices, and if I bring on demand and live together, then that's more valuable for them, because I feel bad every time I cancel a live class, because then I'm like, oh, that's one less class I've offered them. But if they then have a library of 60, 70, 80 on-demand classes to do anytime they like, it's less stressful on me, and I know that they've still got something that they can do. So I think it's like thinking about little things that you can do to add value, but don't also create more work and more things for you to do to just feel like you're worth it.
Yeah. And so do you feel that, like anything, right, like you have got to put the work, as Anna was saying, 2 days or 2 days and a half of filming and then editing and then uploading, putting that work really pays off, because you get as many weeks or months of content, right, and then you can have there available for your customers.
Yeah, I think what Elle said as well about, we sort of sit there and we think, oh, you know, we're going to put our price up, or I want to charge this much, and this is what it costs, this is how much I think it's worth. And then you go back on yourself and you go, oh yeah, but maybe it's not worth that. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I need to add in this, and I'll just do this. And I'll promise them I'll do this at the same time. And then you're overwhelmed with so much work and you can't do anything properly. And I think that's something that we have to remind ourselves, is just because everything has been really difficult over the last couple of years, it really has, and for everyone, and I completely acknowledge that, but just because that's happened doesn't mean that we're now worth less. So we have to sort of we have to cater for our people. And obviously, you know, I feel like most fitness instructors are in this business because they want to help people. So if someone was really struggling, I'm sure we'd be more than happy to give them free classes or whatever it is. But in general, for a lot of people, their financial situation hasn't changed. So we're still working hard. We're still trying to do everything that we were doing before. So we have to be careful not to give ourselves too much work in order to prove that we are still valuable or whatever it might be. So yeah, definitely agreeing with what.
Are we saying then that let's put the friends and family to one side? Not more freebies.
I would what was I going to say? I would also say that, oh, now I can't remember what I was going to say. I'll come back to that in a second.
He will come back to you.
Oh, no, I know. I was going to say, we should also consider that sometimes less is more, because people are super busy. And I feel like where I have like 60, 70 classes, like they're going to look at that and be like, oh my God, what do I do? So I feel like sometimes just having like maybe 10 or 12 classes that they can choose from a month is more accessible to people, because they're super busy, and half the point of them doing a class is that they don't want to make choices. They don't want to decide what exercise to do. They just want to be told what to do. So if you're just like, this is the class that you're doing today, do it, they're more likely to do it than having to sit and choose between 70 options.
And that, to be honest, is exactly why I started doing Flex, how it is, because it was just an on-demand platform with like, I want to say 12 different categories of workouts, and in each one there was between like, I don't know, 5 to 30 different workouts. And I didn't know, like, I was like, where am I going to send them? When they open up that dashboard, what do they do? How can I motivate them when they're all doing completely different things at the same time? And I just find it so overwhelming trying to make enough content to fill that every single week, that I've done basically exactly what Elle just said, and there's 12 to 14 videos in 2 categories, and then I tell them which ones to do on which day. It was so stressful, and I think that's the thing, you're working on your own, and you get like, I've bitten off way more than I can chew. I've promised all this stuff, I've got to carry on delivering it, and there's only one person doing the work. So
yeah, and I think that's something that we ought to consider, isn't it? Is okay, how many clients I have, what I have promised them, and how can I deliver it in the most effective way as well? Because like I was talking to you earlier, Anna, when I was saying, you know, that potential client contacting me, not going into the deep of this story, I promise, but I was realizing that I spent 2 days just going back and forth over text messages, you know, like, oh, is it? Oh, and when are you entering the competition? And when are you doing this? And then you realize, gosh, if I was to do that with every single client, you know, I'm spending hours here that I could be monetizing and making some money as well. So that really takes us to a really good topic. And I think, Elle, you mentioned this one yourself. You suggested this one really, which is diversifying your income to reduce risk. With everything now, especially January coming and looming on over us again, another year. But another year where we don't know where things are going to go and how things may change or anything. So diversifying your income, in which ways can we do that?
So I'd say when the pandemic hit, I had just finished studying my master's, but I was only working in one studio, like one evening a week. So it wasn't by all means like covering all my bills. But when that went, I literally had nothing whatsoever. And then over the past few months, I've seen the, fellow instructors, they have, if their class numbers have got to the point that they're not doing classes and that's all they've been doing, they've got nothing. Or if they no longer have any PT clients, like they have nothing there too. So I feel like I was having this discussion with my mum, I think randomly, like you can't have all your eggs in one basket, because when you're freelance, especially, like things are so unpredictable. Like you could be working in a studio one day and then the next they tell you that they're no longer operating. So I think while we can, it's really good to try to have something for yourself as well, because when I did lose my studio role because of the pandemic, I realized that actually the relationships with clients were all through the gym. So when I came to deliver my own stuff, I was like, who am I even going to be teaching? Because I don't even know how to get in contact with like all my favorite people that came to my classes. So I think that was a really stark realization. And again, that's another reason that you should be valuing yourself, because you're building these relationships and you're doing the marketing and you're doing the PR and you're doing the finance and you're doing the admin. And that's part of the service that you're delivering. And it's probably and hopefully seamless for your clients. Like they just book a class and, they put in their card details and it's done. So yeah, I feel like, I keep losing my train of thought here. I feel like it's really important to like have different things that you do and to always be thinking about, potentially what you could add in, so that any moment that something disappears, you're like, well, I was going to do X, Y, and Z anyway. And you can just fill that gap, plug that hole, and keep your income kind of steady-ish.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you do, Elle?
So me personally, that's fine. I guess I'm a little bit different to most fitness professionals.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
I do lots of different things. So I have my own classes right now. So I deliver those. I PT. I'm very selective with who I PT, because you're one-on-one with these people, they need to be special. I also have my blog, which I monetize. That's through affiliates and that's through advertising revenue. I am a content writer, so I write for other publications, which include like Stylist Magazine, Fit and Well, Cycling UK. I also am a cycling coach. I just completed my level 2 this year in October. It's a generic level 2, so I can coach groups, but I'm about to do my cyclocross level 2 and eventually do level 3. So that's another way that I can earn money. I'm like, what else do I do? As an influencer, like my social channels, I've grown those and I'm continuing to focus and grow those. So I'm lucky enough to get to work with brands and have partnerships. I'm an ambassador for Live Cycling, so I do a lot of cycling, and I've worked with various other brands on paid collaborations. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, how do I even pay my bills? And then I'm like, do you know what? It's because I've got a lot of different revenue streams, and that's how I keep going. So yeah.
And the group that you created, the Zoom support Facebook group, that also came about throughout COVID, the first few months, right?
Yeah, so I am actually a admin on the overall fitness instructors group for the UK, and they created the group, the Zoom one, and then the ladies who did that kind of retired, as you do, because running a Facebook group is no joke. I'm telling you now, it's absolutely no joke. So I took over shortly after the start of the pandemic, and yeah, like I don't monetize that. I'm all about helping other instructors and supporting everybody, because I also get that back, because when I have a question, that's the first place I go to. So yeah, like I do that as well as a, let's call that a volunteer role amongst my other volunteer roles.
And it's a great group, I will be honest with you, because even for this call, I was, searching within the group, stuff, and some of the content that you have, Elle, is very, very helpful. I can imagine that a lot of fitness instructors really, really value you, and what you put together.
Yeah, and something I'd say actually about the group, which is relevant for instructors, is that I always really value social listening. So if you have a space where your clients are, like listen to what they're saying, or a space where your ideal clients are. So for example, I like to do a lot of stuff around Couch to 5K. So I'm in a couple of Couch to 5K groups, and you'll find that people ask the same question over and over and over and over again. And you have to realize that if they're asking those questions in a Facebook group, there's like 10 times or 100 times or 1,000,000 times those people asking those questions on Google and on Instagram and everywhere else. So those are the questions that your clients want answered, and that's how people will find you. They might be looking for, if you're into, I don't know, booty band workouts, and people are always like, oh, I need some inspiration for some leg exercises with a booty band workout, then create that. Then every time someone asks that question, you're like, here's a post I did about it with 5 exercises, and then they get to see what you do, and they're like, oh wow, like you teach a class on this, and the world is your oyster. So social listening, listen to what your clients are saying, especially when they're repeating themselves over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think that's a very valuable point. And we have Melissa Buckle made a comment now in the Facebook live comment box, in which she says she's got older adults. Obviously social media is out of the question for her, but word of mouth, obviously it's her sort of like her key marketing channel. What sort of listening can she do there?
Do you know what? I would just ask, I would speak to the clients that you already have, and like find out what they do socially, like find out where they hang out, like maybe their grandkids are the person that are online, and support them with that kind of thing. Just like talk to who you do already have contact with, and figure out ways that you can reach them based on what they already do. Like I know that my mom, she's like 70-ish or something, and she has her iPad and she uses Google, and sometimes she's like, oh, I watched this video on YouTube. So you just don't even know where we're assuming that because they're older that they never use the internet, but actually my mum was never not on the internet. So I know that if I posted a video on YouTube, like she could potentially find it there,
come across it.
So yeah, just speaking to people and finding out like how your current clientele work, because you want more of them, right, to figure out how to reach the rest.
I think as well, then even face to face, you can do the same thing, because they talk to you and they ask you questions, and every time someone asks you a question in class or before class, or can I just pick your brains about something, that's what they're exactly the same as Elle said. When you're reading in a group, it's exactly the same thing, isn't it? So if they ask me stuff before class, I try to like bank it in my head, because then I'll go away and make posts or write an email about it later, or then put it in my blog and all that kind of thing. So I think just listening to people, listening to your target market, who are the people that you're teaching anyway, helps with the same.
And Anna, question for you as well about diversifying your income and reducing that risk as well. What are your tips on that?
I think I probably, because I think I could probably do, listening to Elle talking, actually, I was thinking there were some things that she was talking about that I'd really like to pick her brains on later.
I was making some notes too.
I'll forget about that when we're not on here. But Yeah, so I PT and I teach face-to-face classes, and I've got Flex, which is my online part, and then obviously keeping in mind that things like partnerships and I do clothing for my clients. So, and the one thing I would say about that clothing is that I do it to order, so they order it and then I have it printed and then it gets delivered to them 3 weeks later, because holding stock, having done it before for someone else, is a very difficult task and a very expensive one. So when I say clothing, I just want to make sure no one thinks I'm holding 10 grand's worth of clothing in my loft, because I'm not. But things like that, so that it all clips in, and then obviously online coaching, and then that all part comes in, because I like to do lots of different things to keep me interested. So I feel like doing a little bit of everything tends to make me feel very motivated. And then obviously the instructor website was on top of that. Yeah, I think doing a bit of face-to-face, a bit of online, a bit of like kind of accessory stuff that clips in. It's just like a workout, really, isn't it? You're trying to do
True.
movements,
Mixing it up.
So,
Yeah, it's very true, isn't it? It's all about mixing it up and trying to find different channels and different ways in which. And you said partnerships as well. What sort of partnerships, when you say that, just so that everyone understands, what sort of partnerships are we talking about?
So for like referral stuff mainly, so affiliate things. So if there's something specifically that my clients want to have and that I think is a really good fit, then if it's something that I would use myself, then we have a commission basis based on me referring that product or whatever it might be. But I only make sure that I only do it if I would actually use the product myself, if that makes sense. So then it sort of funnels in.
It's genuine and it comes from that makes sense completely. Well, can we move on now, looking at the time? Moving on, one of my favorite actually topics, which is identifying your target audience, mostly because obviously having joined quite a few groups in the past few months, one of the questions that I see coming up the most on, especially perhaps more on the personal training group, but it could be because I'm spending a little bit more time there, not because the fitness instructors or group X are not having this issue, but is are the clients that I have the clients that I need for my business? Should I be looking for new clients? Should I reconsider my clients? How can we identify the right target audience for ourselves?
You know what I'm going to say? I think as much as we focus on new clients, we have to remember that it's really expensive to get new clients, when in fact, an easier thing to do is probably to get that like second tier. So you've got the people that come all the time, they buy everything, they're happy to spend all their money. And then you've got the people just below. Like, it's probably more financially beneficial to get those people just below to spend more money. Like, rather than you spending more money trying to find new people, you just need to potentially encourage those who are spending a little to spend a little bit more. And that's going to like compound to be a decent increase in finances. So I think that as much as it is useful to focus on bringing in new clients, like, don't forget the clients that you already have. Like, make the ones that are spending all their money feel special, because they are, and make those who are just a little bit below, like, make them feel special enough to want to spend even more.
Yeah. So when you're talking about making them feel special, are we talking about like thank you gifts as well now on the run up to Christmas, small things like that?
Recently, I was doing one of my PTs and my client said to me, she was like, oh, like, we've been training for over a year now. And I was like, oh my God, has it been that long? And she was like, yeah, it has. And then another client who I train, she has a Peloton as well. And she has the treadmill and the bike. And she absolutely loves when her instructor, who is probably the other side of the pond, like, does a shout out when she hits, they hit their milestones of 50 classes, 100 classes, whatever. And then I realized that I was like, why do I not do this? Because it's going to be even more special coming from me, because like, I have a closer relationship. Our relationship is one-on-one. It's not just on a screen. Like, we actually know each other. And then I was like, I'm going to do that. So I did some maths and I realized that my Peloton client, she had hit 50 sessions with me. And I don't know if you can see this, but I sent her some biscuits and said 50 plus sweat days. So, and that's how much she loved it. She posted it on Instagram this morning, like I sent it a couple of weeks ago. And then, I sent my other client who just hit a year, I sent her like 1 year of sweat and she loved it. And I was like, why? Like, that's our superpower.
That's a small thing. Yeah.
And obviously, if you're doing like bigger groups, you can do smaller things. I've seen that conversation come up a bit as well, like small little things for Christmas or whatnot, just, so they feel special and valued, like, because they are, right?
Absolutely. And you're right. It costs more money to bring in new clients, to try and go out there and find them and then get them to test you or try your services and then get them to stay. Than actually just, continue to retain your current clients and nurture them in a way that hopefully as well, they will bring themselves new clients, which means that hopefully that job of having to go out constantly, it's sort of like done, isn't it? What are your thoughts, Anna, on that?
I do similar kind of stuff. Like for the classes, we did badges. So when they've done 100 classes or 200, 500.
Oh, I like that.
It starts from like 20, 50. So they have little pins, with the cute little backs. And like if with PT clients, because obviously they're spending more money in a short space of time. Like if I'm training them and they need something, so like if they're like, oh, my grip is awful, then I will just order them wrist straps. Like while they're there, and so have it delivered to the house. So I just don't say anything and just quickly order it on Amazon, and then it turns up in their house the next day. So nothing major. They cost like $5 to get for deadlift. So things like that just let them know that I was listening when they said that they needed something. And like Christmas this year, I've got lanyards with my logo all over, because they're all obviously carrying passes and stuff that they need to get into work more than they used to, like security measures and things like that. So I thought that would be like a nice little thing for them to have. So I think, and it doesn't even have to be things, just like shout outs on social media, like you were saying about the Peloton and so on. It doesn't have to be stuff that you're spending money on all the time. But I mean, knowing who you work with, even if you're not looking to get new people, like understanding who you're serving and what their problems are will help you create your social media content or write your blogs or your email content. So I think even if, like, and I agree with Elle, I think it should massively be focused on retaining who you have, because they're there all the time, and they are the people who talk about you and the people who write nice comments on things for you or tell other people that you're awesome. So if we focus on them, but if we listen to their problems and what they're facing, then that gives us all the content that we need to create stuff so that we know that we're ticking our social media box.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you're looking out, especially for those ones that are fully on that online delivery model, looking at getting new clients, and I guess with them, that identifying the target audience, or trying to find out, okay, who do I need to speak to in a social or online world, it's a little bit harder, isn't it? And how could they go about it? Do you have any tips around that that you could share?
With working out who your target market is for online, do you mean?
Yeah, for online delivery.
I think even obviously if you're delivering something online, you're trying to create your community anyway. So you would have a Facebook group or a forum or whatever it might be, where you're trying to bring people together, because there's kind of not science of it, but it's the same. Like, I wouldn't want people to walk out of my hall and then me not speak to them for 7 days after. So whatever we're doing, however the mode is, we're still trying to create a community. So if you create that community and you can get people talking within that community, you're already going to be able to see what they're posting about and see the questions that they're asking, dropping them DMs. Like, I message everyone. I have reminders to send an email every 2 weeks to someone who's doing my online thing that I don't actually know in person. So just to check up on them, make sure that everything's going well, answer any questions that they've got. and that kind of thing. Like, even if they're not doing it, they'll be like, oh yeah, I really haven't had time, but I do really love the look of it, and is it okay if I just ask you this, because I definitely want to get started again next week. So even if it's something like, they just know that the window of communication is open there.
That engagement piece is absolutely key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely. So let's move on now to messaging and storytelling. How can you tell your story properly? Online feels, and on social media, like you do see some stories being shared, you know, of some fitness professionals, and you think like, oh my God, that sounds so unique, and so I haven't got that. Or what can I tell people about myself, my business? How do you find your story, and how can you tell that properly?
I feel like everyone, it doesn't have to be a big thing though to have a story. You don't need to have something huge to tell, because that's, for a lot of people, when they're trying to work out if they want to do exercise or not, they're just struggling with their general life, and like, how do they fit the time, how do they manage their time, how do they get the motivation to do this, and just being able to share how you do it, and even if it doesn't come from like a huge motivational change story or whatever it might be, that's still going to connect with people. And whatever your story is, and whatever the changes that you've been through or the motivation that you've had, that opens up doors for other people to message you, or to just, even if they just look at your post and think, oh, I didn't know that, cool, and then they carry on swiping, it's still in their head that someone else had a similar thing that they've gone through, even if it wasn't a big deal. So I think it's always worth talking about, even if you don't think that you've got anything interesting to share.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Anna. And even simple things like I did an Instagram reel yesterday, and it's I can't remember her name, Emma Thompson, where she's laughing and then she says, don't be ridiculous. And my caption was like 8 a.m. personal training sessions. I was like, don't be ridiculous, because I'm not a morning person. And I'm like, all those people who also are not morning people are going to resonate with that, and they're going to be like, cool. And my clients who ask me for 8 a.m., like, we do it, and I know lots of people are like out at 5:45 and 6:45, but I'm not that person. So just little things that are relatable, and 100% what Anna said about, you know, your story. And I know that a lot of people have got into our industry based on not great experiences, and you don't need to focus on the bad stuff, but you can focus on then the positive stuff, the stuff that you decided you wanted to deliver because of what happened to you, you know. Like, people have had bad experiences with coaches who've been telling them to lose weight or something, so they're like anti-diet and like weight inclusive. So I think just not forgetting why you're doing what you're doing, and finding little nuggets to share is enough to get people to resonate with you and be like, oh cool, that's the kind of space that I want to be in, that's the kind of community that I need.
It's that uniqueness, isn't it? It's making yourself and your account be as unique as it can be, and thankfully we are all very unique individuals.
I think we forget that though, because there's so many of us, we're like, how do we stand out? And you're like, you are you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that you may train someone, or the way you may run your classes, may be very different to the way that many other people do. Like, obviously, since I joined GymCatch 6 months ago now, I'm in this proper fitness community that I feel that it's, especially for group exercise, and I see a lot of dancers and I see Pilates, and I'm like, my goodness me, I don't know to do any of that. You know, I can hardly remember go from a squat to a jumping lunge if I have to tell a client, let alone having to remember choreography. So I look at you guys, some of you, and I'm like, wow. And I get sort of like, I feel like this imposter syndrome almost, you know, where I'm like, oh, will I be good enough now to give my classes? Do I need to requalify? Do I need to look at other courses? How can I learn more? But I think that imposter syndrome goes through many people, you know. I think social media has made things so visible and so out there, and you know, it's even harder now than ever than to really think, no, actually you're okay to think that way, you know, you are okay as you are, and you're doing well. And give yourself that pat on the back that we all deserve sometimes.
I think a benefit of social media though is that before everything was so visible, like I tried to go to lots of different classes to like experience different instructors so that I could find like my own voice. But now you don't have to go anywhere or pay anything. Like you can just go through Instagram and see everyone and their style and their teaching. And like that can help you like figure out things, like figure out your voice, figure out what you do want to do, what you don't want to do, figure out ways of saying things, ways of explaining things, figure out new exercises. Like I am never ashamed to say that Pinterest is my number one place.
You say that,
finding like exercises, because I like to do different things. And I'm like, you see it and then you're like, it's so simple. Why didn't I think of that? But why am I gonna why reinvent the wheel? Like I'm not going to spend 10 hours trying to figure out one new exercises from 3 different exercises when someone has already done it before. Like I think it's really valuable to just experience other instructors and content that's out there to help you figure out what you want to do and what you want to provide.
I don't think that feeling of imposter syndrome completely goes for anyone ever, and I think that probably keeps us all on our toes.
True that.
Learn more, trying to help our clients more, sort of discover how we want to speak to people and how we want our processes to let our clients know what our business is like, and the way that we want to look after them and all that kind of thing. I don't think we ever really stop having that, but I think you just get to a point where you think, do you know what, like I'm okay, that I might not be like the best person in the entire world at this, but I help the people that I help in a really specific way, and that's cool. I don't think you suddenly just think, oh yeah, I'm just the dog's doodahs. I just think like go, yeah, you know what, I'm doing all right, and this is how I want to do it anyway, so it's fine. And
sorry, don't be ashamed to ask for feedback. Like I send out a feedback survey all the time, and I'm like, how do my classes make you feel? Like, how's the vibe? Like, what would you change? Like, and that's a nice boost for confidence when people are like, I love your classes, they're great. So like there's no need to feel like that. Ask for feedback.
When my clients do their check-ins for their PT every week, on the document that they have to fill in, like to say whether they felt like it went well, whatever, at the bottom I always say, what else would you need from me to make this suite even better? And then if they're like, actually I really want information on this, then I can make a book, like a little booklet, if it's something massive that I've really missed, or it might just be something that I need to send them some like motivational like thing, and I write them a little paragraph or whatever. But I think massively asking for feedback shows one, confidence boosting, but 2, shows you where you can fill in the gaps that you've got to make the service even better for them.
Right,
that's very good. What else can I do for you?
We are definitely fitness professionals. We are definitely givers, aren't we? We really want to help.
I think we wouldn't do this job unless we absolutely loved it, would we? It's hard work. So
it's very true, very true. So now we are coming up to an end, sadly, obviously, because I found this very, very useful for myself too. So I hope many others that been watching us, and we will be recording this and posting it back again into the Gym Catch page. But one thing that I wanted to ask you, what keeps you motivated? What keeps a fit pro like yourselves, who are not just running your fitness business, but you're also influencers, you're also working with other fitness professionals to really support them? What motivates you, and how do you get your kick in?
Good question.
Play some book up.
Anna.
So I drink a lot of this. And then also I listen to a lot of podcasts. If I'm honest, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I have 2 or 3 people that I would call like my business besties. One of them, I have a call with him every Monday at 3:00, and we set our goals for the week, and we like work out what we didn't do well, share ideas on new computer software that we like and stuff like that. But really podcasts, because I spend almost all of my time on my own unless I'm training at the gym or with my clients, and the rest of the time like it's just me. So like, you have to really know what you love and why you love this job and why you're going to keep going at it. And then also to, one thing that has massively kept me focused is being like, no, you're not going to do anything now, you're going out. And like to have a social plan, because otherwise I feel that I could always be doing more, especially in the last 2 years. Like everything just feels like there's so much going on that I make sure that I have time out. If I start to feel really tired, I'm like, no phone. And I put it
Lock out, and then
and just switch off, because then you feel re-motivated to come back and do stuff. Otherwise you just end up feeling like you're drowning. You've got to take a step back and be like, no, I need a bit of space. Gonna go and listen to a podcast and live my best life. Kind of monster.
That, I 100% agree with that, Anna, and that's why I have only delivered live classes for 1 week, November and December, because I was close to burnout. Like I felt like every minute my eyes were open, I had to be doing something, and I would be in bed with my laptop. So I started to create those boundaries, because it was not benefiting anybody at the end of the day. So yeah, for me, I get my inspiration from a couple of places. Firstly, like I'm a member of a community called Inspiration Space, and it's created for businesses of one. And I get a lot of support there, like everything that I need. And I'm even doing one of their programs, which is helping me to like prepare for the new year. And then I think I also get my inspiration from my clients, because I see some of the things that I make them do and I'm like, whoa, like you're amazing. I was like, in my head, that was crazy, but you did it. And yeah, when I see their progress, like that really inspires me to keep going, because you realize like you're making an impact on this person. And it's not just exercise, because, you know, you're improving their mindset and they're taking that energy out into their workplace and into their day and into their relationships. So yeah, that's also what really inspires me. And I think personally, I really love to learn. And one of the best ways to learn is talking with other people, because I know that I've picked up a few nuggets from talking to you guys today, and hopefully like vice versa. And that's the point, for everyone else to hear us talk and be like, oh my gosh, that's such a good idea, or I might try that. So yeah, like that's inspiring as well. Like that's what's feeding me. I'm learning all the time, and that's what I like to do.
Yeah, and that's really great. And do you guys keep yourselves with like qualifications, upskilling, things like that as well? Is that something that you guys continue to do even if you have made it at SAT?
Yeah, I've got 2 courses I'm going to try to do over the Christmas break, like really short ones. Like, don't get me wrong, not like qualifications, but like, you know, 6 or 7 hours of sort of video time. And I read loads, and then I watch my favourite bodybuilders on YouTube quite a lot. So
what's that?
Jeff Dittard is one of my favourites. He does like reviews of research papers, and he's awesome. So I like watch stuff like that, because then I think, oh my God, I've got so many ideas now, because I watched a 5-minute video, and it gives me loads of extra magic. And talking, like exactly like Elle said, talking to people is so huge. So if you're not on your own, and it's so overwhelming trying to be a fitness entrepreneur or self-employed person at the moment, that I think just hearing someone else say, you know, I was trying to finish my work at midnight, sat in my bed trying not to cry, like it just sort of, you know, everyone's like, yeah, sure,
I'm normal. Yes,
Exactly.
It does help massively. Well, I'm incredibly thankful to you two for joining us today, our first Facebook Live, but I really hope that we get to make many of these. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be recording it, repackaging it as we do, and then posting it back on Facebook on Gym Catcher's main page. But I'm very thankful to both of you for your time and for your great input as well and your insight. So yes, thank you very much, and I really truly hope that we can get to speak again soon, very soon.
That's for sure. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.